Hello, and welcome to episode 5 of Harrison Talks Pod. If it's your first time joining me, my name is Harrison Rich, and this is my podcast. Every week I'll come on here, talk about NBA basketball, or gaming, or traveling, or whatever I might be doing that week. Uh, Soon to have guests on, but for now, gonna keep it very nice and simple. Again, no intros, uh, no guests this week, and we are talking more NBA basketball. So, if you are joining me again, welcome back. If you're joining me for the first time, please like, subscribe. I'm on YouTube. I'm on all podcast platforms. Episode 5. Okay, we have historic Cavs start. The Rockets are soaring. Oh, that's kind of a pun. Did not mean that really. LeBron breaking records in year 22. And speaking of which, will history repeat for the Lakers? But before that, let's start with a quick NBA Cup update because we've had our first week of NBA Cup action, and all teams have played either one or two games at this point. I don't have a lot to say. It's been a very satisfactory week as far as NBA basketball goes, and I'll talk about the teams, how many teams that we have that are 2-0. 4 or 5? I didn't count. Well, I have to talk about the Pistons first, of course. And I don't know how many weeks now I'll talk about the Pistons, but we have to. We have to. They are 2-0 in NBA Cup play. They had a tough fought victory against the Raptors over the weekend, winning 99-95, and an overtime winner against Miami, 123-121, which was quite not controversial, but it was a very historic ending. Let's say that. They defeated the Wizards last night, 124-104. They've won 3 of their last 4, 4 of their last 6, and 7 of their last 12 after starting 0-3. So they've won 7 games. They are now 7 and 8th, which is good enough for 5th in the East. And it took them 50 games to win 7 last year. They were 7 and 43. So, of course, we have to talk about the Pistons. Great League Pass team and had an exciting week. Can they hold off? They will face the Pacers and the Bucks as well in group play. Bucks won their first matchup in group play. Other 2-0 teams. In East Group A, we have the 2-0 Magic and a 2-0 Knicks. Orlando is still playing without Paulo Banchero, but is playing great defense without him. Knicks are looking solid and might have the slight advantage over the Magic with having their next couple of games at home. No other team in this bracket, this group, has won, and the Sixers that are 0-2 are now eliminated. The Hawks are 2-0. They upset the Celtics, and they won against the Wizards. They still have to play the Cavs, who, of course, are undefeated. They'll play them on November 29th. And who else do they play? Hawks, Cavs. Is it Boston? Okay. All right. Well, they are 2-0 in that group. Play the Cavs, who we'll talk about very soon here. Also, last one are the Warriors. So that is 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. 5 teams, yes. 5 teams, 4 groups. They are 2-0 in group play. They've won 7 of their last 8 games. Their only loss was a bad loss against the undefeated Cavs. They have not lost a game since I talked about them last week. They will have a tough matchup against the Nuggets, who I assume will have Jokic. The Nuggets lost to the Pelicans in group play on Friday without Jokic in the lineup. So that will be a tough matchup, of course, if you're playing in the West. Almost the majority of matchups are going to be very tough. And yeah, the Warriors roll ahead. Solid depth, solid bench scoring, just one of the best teams, offense, defense, net positive, just all around. So let's move on. Historic start for the Cleveland Cavaliers. They are 15 and 0. They are the fourth team in history to start 15 and 0. I knew two of them, so that's pretty good. Of course, we have the 15-16 Warriors, who have the record at 24 straight. The 93-94 Rockets, who I believe, okay, I got this one, but I believe it's only 15 straight. And then the one I didn't know was the 48-49 Washington Capitals, which I barely know is an NBA team. But it's a team for sure. All of these three other teams went on to make NBA Finals. The only team to win the NBA Finals were the 93-94 Rockets. Of course, 15-16 Warriors lost to the Cleveland Cavaliers. The Washington Capitals. I don't know. I've got to look it up. This is the second best start in history. Yes. Okay. So the other two were 15 and 0. Can it get to 24 and 0? I'm not sure, but I will leave my prediction for the end. They are first in points per game by a big margin at 123. Next would be the Boston Celtics at 121.6. They are first in field goal percentage. Only team shooting over 50% at 52.4%. They are the only team shooting over 40% from three at 41.9%, and they are first in effective field goal percentage at 61%. They are fifth in steals, second in net rating. They are first in offense at 121.8 and have one of the most efficient benches in the league, fifth overall with points in the paint. Last game, they did not have their leading scorer, Donovan Mitchell. Mitchell has played and started the last 14 games before that, but Ty Jerome got the first start of the season and matched his career high of 24 points, which was the second leading scorer. Darius Garland led the team in scoring with 25 points. Has had some very impressive offensive performances lately, and the improved defensive effort just shows overall with the improved defensive effort for this team. Evan Mobley had 23 points, continues to be consistent, and is showing highs with points per game. So my question, I think in the beginning of the season was, can Evan Mobley average 20 points per game on a team that has two other 20-plus points per game scorers? But at 17.6, I believe, he is averaging career highs. Solid start for sure. Solid defense as well, of course. Jared Allen had 21 points. Mitchell is averaging 24.6 points in his 14 starts, which is leading the team in scoring. He had a huge night against the Bulls in group play with 37 points, and did not play, I assume, due to rest, because they will play Boston in group stage on Tuesday. So, depending on how you feel about rest, that might be good. That might be a good thing. Solid start for him. For sure, all-star start. For sure. Last is my prediction. Let's predict Cleveland goes 20 and 0 to finish the month of November. So next they play Boston in group stage. I say they win. Then they will play the Pelicans and Raptors. Both have been playing very competitive. Pelicans won their game against the Nuggets in group play. The Raptors win? Anyways. And Hawks, they will have two competitive games against them, one in group stage as well. So I say they go 5-0 there, 2-0 for the rest of group play, and in 20-0 for the month of November. Historic start to the season, and one we won't forget for sure. Fourth best, second best in history, tied. So, other teams in the West we have talked about. We've talked about the Warriors lately. We talked about the Thunder, who are just maybe my favorite team to watch in the league overall. Have not talked about the Nuggets, and the Rockets have not talked about the Rockets enough, and they have won five straight. Five straight, six of their last seven, with one loss from the Warriors. They defeated the Clippers in their group stage play, 125 to 104, and they had an impressive win last night against the Bulls, who are struggling. They won 143 to 107. The Rockets are third in the West at 10-4. They are a very exciting team to watch with a lot of effort. Lots of young players mixed with Fred VanVleet, who is one of my favorite teen point guards in the league consistently. And it's shown a lot of effort on both ends, but most of their success comes from defense, where they are the third best defense in the league right now at 105.4. They are on pace currently for wins for 10-4, but their pace also makes them end the season at 59 wins, which would be second highest for the franchise high of 65 wins. So pretty close to the franchise high as far as their pace goes. This team is first in rebounds at 50.7 rebounds per game. They are first in offensive rebounds at 14.8 rebounds per game. And they are second in second chance points at 18.5 points per game. A good and bad for this team. There are 7 players that are averaging double figures, but there is not one player that is averaging 20 points or more per game. Jalen Green is the highest at 19.8 points per game. Overall, as a team, they are shooting 33% from three, which is just not going to be good enough for a team that wants to be competitive. It's great that they are playing superb team basketball, where they can make improvements on offense if they simply just improve their three-point shooting. But at the same time, they need to have better offensive production from their top players, whether it's Şengün, whether it's Jalen Green. Who are they building this team around? I'm sure is something that we asked in the beginning of the season. Jalen Green is, yes, leading the team in scoring, is also shooting 33% from three on 8.8 attempts per game, and just needs to improve offensively, and there's lots of rooms for improvement. So if you're a Rockets fan, it kind of depends on how you feel. The answer is pretty simple on how you improve. You improve by offensive efficiency and shooting efficiency. Do you take less attempts if you're Jalen Green? I don't know, but the room for improvement is there, and still you started the year 10-4. That is great. Alperen Şengün is having a nice offensive start. Needs to be more efficient offensively. Needs to be more efficient offensively, which is something that is very just common overall. It almost doesn't matter, though, because he has looked great on defense. He is 7th in the league in rebounds per game at 11.4, and he is third in offensive rebounds overall. Fun fact, Tari Eason is first in the league in defensive blocks plus minus with four. I don't know how we calculate that. Alperen Şengün is 5th, and Amin Thompson is 14th. So solid production for sure from Tari Eason, resulting in them having one of the best defenses and one of the best young defenses as well. Will Jabari Smith be more consistent in his third season is something that we've asked a couple of times. Scored 10 points on 4 of 8 from shooting in this huge offensive night from the Bulls. So 10 out of the 143 points, but didn't shoot too much, didn't need to shoot too much. And had 28 points in the previous game in group play against the Clippers. So consequential games there and season high there as well. Needs to be a better three-point shooter, same as almost everyone on this team. And can he just be more efficient overall night to night on offense? Having a couple of big nights on offense, but not always. But then not always needing to. So, want to see more from him. Want to see more from him. All in all, they are a solid, fun team. They are filled with a lot of fun, exciting players. There's other young players I didn't really mention too much on here that are also averaging double figures, like Tari Eason, I mentioned a little bit, Dylan Brooks, Amin Thompson. Steven Adams will fit perfectly into this team and be a perfect veteran presence once he returns and finally comes back. Fred VanVleet is second in scoring on this team and is one of my favorite team point guards. I think fits perfectly. I think a lot of teams could use a player exactly like him. Okay, I am back. Had to stop the recording and start again. And that leads me to the last part of today. Leads us to LeBron James and the Lakers. First, let's talk about LeBron James breaking records in year 22. So LeBron James became the oldest player to get 4 triple-doubles in a row, and it's also the first time in his career that he's done this feat. He is the oldest player to get 3 triple-doubles in a row. The second oldest player now is LeBron James at 34 years old. He's also the oldest player to get back-to-back triple-doubles in a row. Despite not getting a triple-double in the last game against the Pelicans, he is averaging a triple-double in the last 7 games, 23.4 points, 11 assists, 10.3 rebounds. He is second in triple-doubles this season with 5. Jokic is first with 6. There are only 26 triple-doubles across the entire league for the entire season. He has 117 for his career. The most he's ever had in his career is the 17-18 season where he had 18, I believe. Yes, 18. And he is 5th in career triple-doubles all time. Jokic is 4th. At 117, could LeBron pass Magic Johnson at 138? Jokic is going to pass Magic Johnson pretty soon in the next, who knows, could be next week, next month, who knows. But 21 more. Could LeBron James in his career pass Magic Johnson and end 4th, I guess? I guess 4th. Yes, did not get triple-double in his last game against the Pelicans, but hit 2 big threes, including one to have them go ahead 2 points. Was kind of quiet offensively leading up to the 4th quarter, but ended with 21 points. Hit the silencer in front of his son, which was very fun to see. You know, always fun to put up those things into context. And I think I want to talk more about, just playing just within the system. Of course, this system with J.J. Redick being the main new piece of the Lakers. No big new players coming this offseason. It's J.J. Redick's system and a lot of offense focused around AD. So it's LeBron James finding offense where he can, but is averaging a triple-double in the past 2 weeks and is still averaging over 23 points per game. So that's pretty amazing. What else can you say for year 22? What else can you say? So shooting 43% from three, which is also something I never thought we would see either. What's next to keep LeBron motivated? Here's some things. Okay, he turns 40 next month. He's about 200 points away from 41,000 points. Of course, never been done before. Chris Paul will soon pass Jason Kidd for second all time in assists, but can LeBron pass Jason Kidd as well? Become third in assists? He's less than 1,000 away at this point. LeBron is around 300 rebounds away from being in the top 25 in all rebounds all time. Could LeBron get 2,500 steals, which would be about 200 more for his career? That might not be realistic, but he is currently 8th all time and could very easily end in the top 5. And of course, he's playing with his son. They are 1-0 in group play. They won the NBA Cup last season. Could LeBron James get his son $500,000 and play with his son at the same time? Of course, of course. That's part today. Let's talk more about the Lakers. The Lakers, of course, won during the COVID season, 19 and 20. They had in the last 4 years they've not made a playoff once. They've had 2 first-round exits, which were the first 2 of LeBron's career. And in 22 and 23, they played in the conference finals against the Denver Nuggets, who eventually went on to win the NBA Finals. So, a lot has changed on the team. A lot has changed on their roster. They still have their 2 biggest players in LeBron and AD. But what has changed, and how have other teams adapted from the 1920 Lakers to go on and win championships? Whether it is the Bucks, who were a great defensive team and had offenses focus around their top 2 players, whether it is the Nuggets, similar there, great offense, great defense, and had similar offenses as well, in a sense that AD was the best offensive player on the 1920 season. Of course, Giannis in 21. Of course, Jokic in 22, 23. So, how has it adapted, and how has it changed? And is JJ Redick trying to go back to something? So I'm not going to speak too much on X's and O's because that is not this kind of podcast. I would not do as well. It's better to listen to someone else for that. But from what I have noticed, it has been quite impressive with how JJ has used his rotations, has used his minutes, how long he keeps LeBron James in the first quarter, sometimes keeping him in for the entire quarter. While they have LeBron James as one of the best playmakers in history, it's very easy to tell that his top 8, top 9 players have bought into an offensive system where everyone is getting more touches, maybe not getting more assists just yet, but is making more plays. And for example, it's very rare that I watch a Lakers game and it seems like AD is getting left out of offensive plays. There were times in the past couple of years, especially in like the 21-22 season, where he played with his back to the basket more and was just playing perhaps a little bit more passively. But it seems like in this system, while he's not averaging more in assists just yet, he is getting a lot more touches, and it's just coming from a lot of pick and roll offense, whether it's coming from the top of the key. It's perhaps horn set, but I'll call it a horn set where you have the 2 big men setting screens for the point guard. Whether it's Iverson cuts, whether it's all different pick and roll actions with ghost screens and flare screens. Uh, I get reminded a lot that AD in high school started as a point guard, and then he's like gained like a foot of height, and then he became like a power forward center. But it's clear that he has those playmaking abilities, and we've seen examples where he make very easy plays, where perhaps Max Christie sets a flare, a ghost screen, goes to the basket, and AD can just kind of pass. He's so tall, can just pass right over people's heads, just very easily. So there's a lot of positives there. I mean, this team is off to just a great start. D'Angelo Russell has gone to the bench, um, but has had good productions there. Cam Reddish started a couple of games, was out the last game, but has shown improved defense when Cam Reddish is with that starting rotation. They tried Max Christie in the last game, which is fine. I predicted going into the season that he would be more productive on offense, so I'm going to stay there. Not quite yet, but he's definitely in the rotation. And speaking of which, Dalton Connect. Dalton Connect was second in scoring in the last game, had a career high with 27 points, is averaging 9.8 points per game, played 37 minutes in this big win. He clearly is in rotation as a rookie. So he's a 7 to 9 man, depending on what team you're playing. This team has a lot of depth, and it's just crazy to see that while they added, two rookies, we'll say, they did not add too much, and this new offensive system is just something that is working out very well for them. They are fourth in the West at 9-4. They play the Jazz next on Tuesday in group stage. Then they play the Magic, Nuggets, the Suns in group stage, Spurs, and then Thunder group stage to close out the month. That is an extremely tough group, but I guess if you play in the West, it is what it is, I guess we'll say. All right, thank you for joining me. That's the podcast for this week. We'll be back next week talking more basketball or more of whatever is going on in the week. So thank you so much for joining me, and have a great rest of your day.